Grace and peace, friends and family. Welcome to another conversation. This is Joy. I'm the creator of Pink Girl Teaches, and I am a certified life coach. I help victims of narcissistic abuse heal emotionally from the wounds of abandonment and rejection, and we do this all from a biblical perspective. Before we get started on today's conversation, which is what you need to know about narcissists and the death of the primary supply, I want to take a moment to invite you, if you are a believer or if you are somebody who is looking to connect. This Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time to 1 p.m., I'm hosting a virtual prayer breakfast. Listen, the women are gathering together and we are going to spend some time under corporate prayer and worship, and we are going to fellowship with each other. So get your breakfast or your brunch ready, depending on where you are, and join me. 10 a.m. Central Standard Time until 1 p.m. on Saturday, December the 10th, 2022, and you can register at www.pinkgirlteaches.com. And also join me on Sunday when I go live at 6:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we discuss healing from narcissistic abuse from a biblical and a spiritual perspective. So let's get into today's conversation. What you need to know about narcissists, death, and the primary supply. I think it's important that I say that death is a road that we're all going to walk down it one day. There is absolutely no way any one of us can avoid death except Jesus come and just pick us up and we out of here. But outside of that, this is something that we are all going to have to, it's a walk we're all going to have to walk. And I believe, from my experience, right, and that I work in hospice, from what I've seen over the years is that people tend to die the way that they live. So if somebody lived a graceful life, they tend to pass on gracefully. And some people who live a rough life, well, the ending is like, it's just like that. Now, it's not to say that, everybody who has a difficult passing is a narcissist. I think that's so important that I say that, because the separating of the body and the spirit, it's a fight. And so you'll see the body do different things. And I have different videos that describe it. Now, I've had people say, well, I saw somebody go through this, relating to my description of the process, but it's something that everybody goes through. There is a point where the body is going to fight to stay alive as the systems shut down. And even as the system shuts down within the body is triggered to respond. So let's just say like your lungs, your heart, all of that is shutting down. The body is going to fight to hold on to that. So it will jerk, it will do different things. But what I've noticed with some people is that battle stops and everything kind of just levels off. But there are some that fight tooth and nail towards the end, and it's not a pretty sight, and I'll leave it at that. But I want to talk about narcissists and death, and mostly about the primary supply. There are many people that are not in a position for various reasons, right? And we're not going to be judgmental, but some people will stay with the narcissist forever. For some, it's their religious belief. Some, there's financial reasons. We can't, there are many reasons, and it's not our job to judge, but rather I think it's important that we educate. So people tend to ask this question, well, why does the narcissist treat me this way when I'm sick? Why are they so mean? Why do they belittle me? Why does it seem that they get more vicious and vile when I'm sick? I want you to understand that there is no switch when it comes to evil. Evil is not like a turn on and off kind of thing, like a light switch. No. Evil just is. And so evil is going to continually be evil. And the only thing that happens is it matures. So now you expect them to take care of you when you're sick. But let me ask you this. Did they ever take care of you when you were not sick? If it's a child, did they truly take care of this child when they got sick? And I think, we know the answer to these questions. And when I say take care, I'm not talking about the bare minimum effort. No, we deserve more than the bare minimum, and we've got to start expecting more than the bare minimum from our relationships. And this is not just about intimate relationships. Think about parents, friendships, all of that. No more bare minimum. Nah, you don't feast off breadcrumbs. There's not enough to feast, and there's not enough to sustain you. So why would we compromise and settle for breadcrumbs when he prepares a table for us? So no, we don't do breadcrumbs, but that's what they do. They will give the bare minimum effort. And for them, they're looking at you as disgusting, as weak. And it's almost like now they're mirroring. A mirror is being held up and they can see themselves. Because now it's almost like the playing field has been leveled. And so you wonder why they're so vile. Maybe you're reminding them of themselves. Maybe something within them is being triggered. And that is how they respond. And so instead of being kind and compassionate, we see in some instances, they run away completely. They go AWOL. They disappear. People will say, and I do have permission to mention this, like somebody went through a mastectomy and the narcissist is like, you look disgusting. You're not, I don't see anything, anything special about you because you're a broken woman. You're missing pieces, but this is how they think. So if that's the mindset, why would there be care? Why would there be love? Why would there be respect? None of those things were there before. So sickness is a reminder to them, right? Sickness is a reminder to them that, they're not immortal. They are not going to live forever. And, sometimes they reflect to times when they were sick and they think about how you may have cared for them, how you may have nurtured them, but they will also think about how it made them feel in those moments. They were sick. They were bedridden, let's say, when they wanted to be out gallivanting. They wanted to be out scouting for new supply, doing different things. But now here they are weak and unable to do anything. And in their mind, they're at your mercy. So they ring the bell, and this is an imaginary bell, by the way. And you're not answering. You're not doing things as quickly as they would like. They're thinking about the missed opportunities they have to be out there busy triangulating, gaslighting, love bombing somebody else, out there getting all kinds of affection, admiration, adulation, adoration from total strangers. Now they stuck in the house with you. So sometimes it's those memories that resurface. You have to remember that these people lack the ability to self-reflect. Your sickness or the sickness of a primary supply is not going to change them. They are not going to have an epiphany and say, I've got to do better. That's the last thing, and you need to not expect that. What happens sometimes is they feel like this is too much responsibility and accountability on my part, so I would rather be gone. I would rather just give you the crumbs that I've been giving you, but I'm going to punish you in the process because how dare you try to hold me accountable for running this house? How dare you try to get more money for me? Now you're sick and we got hospital bills. And if this thing is serious and terminal, and our conversation is about death today, it gets even worse. So there are instances that I know of where the narcissist, let's say the primary supply is in bed, they're bedridden, but it's not that, they're in an active dying stage. No, it's before that. But they can hear, we can communicate, and they can respond. But the narcissist is within earshot, and sometimes they broadcast this lightly and are already planning obituaries. Already planning funeral services, looking at caskets and thinking, well, you just deserve a pine box because there's nothing special about you. You should have it. All of this, dehumanizing somebody who desperately needs care, love, support. And when I say desperately, because listen, the end of life is just that. It's the end of life. There is no doing this thing over. So all of that nonsense talk about reincarnation is just that nonsense. There is no do-over. We get excited about the birth of a new child, but I think death is also such an important part of a person's life and journey because you are literally going into another phase of existence. Your spirit is going back to the giver, your creator, and that's it. There is no more. And so instead of valuing and loving a person and making amends, they are doing the complete opposite, planning funerals, showing the worst kind of boxes that somebody can be put in, almost to say like you're a pauper and I'm not trying to spend a dime on you. Meanwhile, you've sacrificed and you gave so much for yourself. That's why I tell you, you're not Jesus Jr. Stop sacrificing your life for somebody who does not appreciate anything that you do. But also in the context of this conversation, I also want to help those that are in these relationships for life. There are things that I think are important that you do, that you begin to, even while you are healthy. There is nothing wrong with making plans for your future. It is imperative that you do, especially if you share property with them, especially if maybe it's a business that you have with them, and most importantly, if you have children with them. Listen, some of these narcs so homosexual, they just want a free ride in life, and it's you who has been holding everything. It may not be you financially, maybe they are a well-to-do and they can, they have some money, right? Because not all are broke. Some of them have lots of money, but now you've been taking care of absolutely everything else. And now here they come in and they begin to say, well, when you die, because they do this, I'm going to move Susie in and we're going to live happily ever after. Well, you're broken, so I can't wait until Patrick can come over here and we can get on with life. These are random names I'm just using. But this is what they do. They begin to plan out their next steps, the next stages of their life, but erasing you or erasing that primary supply in their face. It's not every instance, but I've seen it happen enough times. So that's one way that they do respond. They will also put on this performance about how grief-stricken they are, but it's not authentic. The tears are for the people that are there so that they can be consoled, they can be comforted. And if everybody is focused on them, who's focused on the actual victim? Who's focused on the actual patient? Who is focused on the one that needs the support? They put on such a big show, fainting, and when I say fainting, please understand that they've been perfecting their acting skills for a lifetime, falling out, crying, making all these declarations. What am I going to do when you die? Oh, don't leave me. I'm going to jump in the grave with you. Meanwhile, the moment people turn their backs and are out of earshot, they're giving you the dark scare, the dark scare, those evil eyes, the narcissistic smirk, all of it. They don't mean any of it. All of these plans are all a form of torment. And I think, one of the most important times, or one of the times in a person's life, is where peace is fundamental, is the last stages of their life. And this is not, I'm not necessarily talking about a sudden death. Nothing that they do will be authentic. They'll say hurtful things, even to the children, to say, oh, this parent of yours is going, well, you better get ready. I'm going to ship you off to boarding school. You're going to have to go live with your grandparents because I can't. Because she decided to die, because he didn't take care of himself, and so now look at him. But this is not what should be happening at this phase in life, and it creates so much pain, and it makes the process that much more difficult for the actual person, the person that is experiencing this, or who is facing this, this death that's about to happen. And not only for them, right, but for their genuine loved ones, their children, those that the narcissist doesn't care that they know that this person is evil. And I don't know about you, but I don't know, like, as far as making my final arrangements, I'm okay with having some type of, say so. In fact, I want to, plan some things for myself, but I don't need somebody coming to rearrange the plans at that phase of life. I also don't think that it's the time for them to begin to start presenting and talking about wills and property when you already made your mind about what you want to do with what you have. A lot of times this is where they want you to start signing paperwork. And this is more so what I want to talk about. There are things that you can do if you are staying with a narcissist for life, right? Or if you feel like it's just too late, I can't start over, or if you have children with them. There are things that you should consider. One of them is having a power of attorney. Now, it's so easy to go over to Google and see the different types of agreements that you can have. We'll have one for your medical decisions. Now, let me say this. You may be married to a narc, but that doesn't mean that they should be the one that speaks or has proxy over your medical care. You can have somebody, a third party, and they do not by law have to know anything about this, except that this person is somebody that is always in control. I mean, not in control, but in contact with you. And you know that this is somebody that is for you. So you pray and ask God for that person or to reveal them. And many times you may know who that person is. It could be a sibling, a parent, somebody who is totally for you and will honor your decisions. Because the power of attorney can protect you if you're incapacitated. They will make sure, like, if you have a do not resuscitate order, that it's followed. Narcissists come through and they just try to bring confusion with those type of things. You can also have a power of attorney agreement to govern your finances, as in to pay bills while you're sick. If you have a surgery coming up and you know that you might be in a long-term care facility or one of those type of situations, making sure that your bills are being paid on time, that your mortgage and all of that, your rent, all of that is taken care of. But you need somebody who is responsible, and that type of person would actually have access to your accounts. Do you really trust the narcissist for this? Again, they don't have to know about this. It's you taking control of your life. You are nobody's victim. You are in control of your life. You are nobody's puppet, and you are not a doormat to be walked on. You take control, especially of the final chapters of your life. Does that mean that you now need to get a trust for your children? Well, maybe. And then you have somebody who will oversee the finances, and somebody, doesn't even need to be connected to you. Maybe an attorney, an accountant, somebody who says that this is what is allocated for the children's living expenses, and they will get X amount when they reach whatever age. Now you want to consider 18 versus 21 versus 25, because you want a level of maturity for your children, and you don't want the narc to have so much control with what you have worked for. What happens to the home that you worked so hard to buy? Who gets that? What happens to that? These are things we need to think about, because bet you me, I wish I would work and then you move in with your next with the next one in my house. Oh no. So these are things that we need to actively consider. Yes, it is a lot and there are heavy things to think about, but we are not here forever. And we cannot just leave these things to the state. We cannot leave these things to chance, and we cannot leave these things to children and loved ones. And we certainly cannot leave these things to a narcissist to take care of. You have power right now. You are living, you have your right mind, so you take control of the things that you can. Who are the beneficiaries for your assets? Your will, your insurance policies. How often do you review these things? How often do you update your will? Because this is how you protect what you have worked for. This is also how you protect those that you love, and especially what you allow to happen to you in the final chapter of life. Because if they are around, I've seen it too many times to not come here and warn you about this. Take responsibility and accountability for the final chapters while you are still in control of your mind, while you are still walking around with a sound mind, because life happens while we are living, and none of us know the day nor the hour. So I wanted to come here today and just have this conversation. It may be a little bit heavier than normal, but I definitely do want to have another Narcissists in Death Live. I will probably schedule it for a Friday night before the close of this year, and you'll see it. I'll post it on the community tab so you know when it's coming, and we can talk about this more. And if you have questions as it pertains to power of attorney agreements and that type of thing, bring them over to the live and we can discuss that. So Fearless One, God bless you, and continue to come from behind and pursue your most significant states.